we do have the long-awaited SpaceX IPO coming up in the next 2 weeks. It's coming out very soon. And I think it is very possible that we can have some type of market sell-off when that IPO comes out. And because the reason why I think that is that SpaceX is going to be added to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ very shortly after it goes public. And fund managers are going to need to buy the SpaceX stock so that they, make sure that they continue to outperform or try to outperform the S&P 500. And so the fact that SpaceX is going to be added to the indices, the major indices, so soon, it's going to force fund managers to have to buy the SpaceX stock, which is a very bullish argument for SpaceX. There's some bullish arguments. The bearish arguments for SpaceX is that the stock is, it's too overvalued right now because, all the big investors are already in it. They're going to try to liquidate and sell the stock. But the bullish argument is that these fund managers need to own the stock because the stock is going to be in the major indices, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. So they're going to have to buy the stock. And that dynamic can very possibly be a bearish thesis for at least some point of time for the stock market as a whole, because these fund managers, they have to get the money from somewhere. So if you think about it, like in your Robinhood account, if you want to buy a new stock, if you don't have excess cash in your account, you have to sell something to be able to buy the new stock. So these fund managers, they're going to have to sell something in their funds. They're going to have to sell various stocks in their funds to raise cash to buy shares of SpaceX. So there's a reweighting issue here. And I would not be surprised if we get a significant, meaningful sell-off in the market after the SpaceX IPO. In the same regard, I think we could get a huge move higher in SpaceX as fund managers buy the stock, at least for a certain period of time before the lockup period ends, and then people start to liquidate SpaceX. And also, SpaceX is a new company, so it's not really correlated with anything. And you can make the argument that because it's so popular and so in vogue right now, SpaceX can become some type of meme stock. You can get, once it issues options and starts trading options, you can very possibly, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying that it's possible that you could get some type of gamma squeeze to the upside where the Robinhooders and the apes from Reddit start buying these calls in SpaceX. And because SpaceX is a new company that doesn't have a historical correlation to anything directly, that can cause the market makers to have to hedge SpaceX with SpaceX, basically. So they're going to have to buy shares to hedge the call buying that they may get from the retail investors at Robinhood. And that can create a gamma squeeze like we had, like we saw in GameStop, at least to a certain extent. So that is the different stuff that's going on in the market right now.